Okay. What is up, guys? And thank you, friends who checked that video. I'll post a link in the chat real quick to the postmodern video being discussed because why not? It's Wisecrack's Case of the Mondays. It's Monday, March 3rd. We're in March, guys. We're in March. March is the month every year where it just feels like how are we here? You know? How are we in the third month of the year? It feels like this whole thing is just getting going.
Did
And by
February
getting
even
going,
happen?
I guess so. February really is a trash month. Is there a worse month than February? Oh no. Did my shit freeze up?
No, your shit didn't freeze up at all. I thought you were
Okay.
hanging for either a
Oh.
pause or an answer. I'm in
Oh no
agreement
no
on
no no.
that, though.
Sorry. Sorry guys. My computer keeps doing this thing where it says force quit applications. Your system has run out of application memory, but not even that much stuff is open. Um
What are you
Sorry,
running?
just closing a couple apps. I have this, I mean, this is the really important stuff everyone cares about. The saga of my shit ass computer from work, and they won't get me a new one. And I think now that, stuff is happening, which some of you know about, I shouldn't say anything because I keep talking too much. Um, they're definitely never going to get me one. But yeah, is there a worse month than February? Someone said April. Penny says, "Oh, September," says Old Grease. I don't know. I like September. Um, let's see. We got March. Okay. Well, we can decide what the worst month is. But hey, it's. Ooh, Mavericks in the chat. It's me, Michael Burns, with producer Henry. Yeah, someone says March is the worst. March is St. Patrick's Day though, so that's fun. Um, we're here to chat. Talk about some stuff that's going on. It's March. It's the last month where we're gonna have the full on Wisecrack streaming schedule. So enjoy it while you can,
Yep.
kids.
Soon,
Um,
no more.
yeah. Someone says August is the worst month. I guess I get that from the perspective of like back to
Uh,
school and
yeah.
school sucks.
There's some film festivals and end of summer stuff that typically happens in August that I'm a fan of. Also, some friends and siblings have birthdays then, so.
Well, that's nice.
But February just, I don't know. Valentine's Day seems the most cynical of holidays in the shortest month, where you're just reminded that like, okay, no, you can no longer be like, okay, new year, new direction. Like, no, get your shit in order. Like things are happening. What's up? Like, yeah, February is a weird short mean time.
What if we just the whole stream just talked about this? Just talked about months. Just talked about months. I think that would be fun. But we won't, guys. We won't do that. We'll talk about other stuff besides months. Hold on one second. I'll do that later. So let's start with a few things. Some stuff that happened. In the chat, let us know if you watched the Oscars. Let us know if you watched the Oscars. Henry, did you watch the entire Oscars telecast?
No, I slept through it. I
Hell
woke
yeah.
up and kind of just reviewed bullet points online, and I was surprised, honestly. I'm not like cynical about the Oscars. I think it's fun to see them. It's kind of neat to see what Hollywood's trying to project culturally about how what it's saying it values, or like how it's trying to present itself in the current year.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I was underwhelmed by the pool. I liked Conclave. I wanted the substance to kind of upset sweet everything. And from what I understand, Nora won Best Picture.
Honora went hard. Honora went incredibly hard. Um, I'll give. Someone says I know Amelia Perez didn't win shit, and that's enough for me. Someone watched the second half. I mean, a couple Oscars things while we're here.
Yeah.
Someone did bring up. Let's see the monologue. I loved Conan. So, friend of the show, just because a former Wisecrack Case of the Mondays guest, Skylar Higley was one of the writers for
Yeah.
the Oscars. So that's pretty cool that, we've
Great
gotten to
Kendrick
hang out
bit.
with someone. Yes. So if anyone saw, Conan had a joke, which is now like controversial. People are debating this on Twitter and stuff today, which is kind of funny. Some people are very mad about it, but Skylar wrote a joke for Conan that was at the halfway point of the show, and he says, "Now's the halftime of the show, so Drake's going to come out and call, that Kendrick's going to come out and call Drake a pedophile." And like when that happened, I turned to my wife who I was watching it with, and I said, I guarantee you, Skylar wrote that. There was that joke, and there was another joke about like Saudi money behind something where I was
Yes,
like, that has Skylar written all over it as well.
Conan had that skit about just like the new streaming service where you just go to a
Hmm.
theater, and it was pretty much what you expect. But then at the end, on top of it being sponsored by the Saudi family and Saudi Arabia, you had Martin Scorsese give it a thumbs up, which I thought was just like it sent the joke over so well. It was one of the things I
Yeah.
enjoyed just seeing in micro afterwards online.
Yeah. Well, and if anyone watched the cinema stream sketch thing, the redheaded woman in it, shouts to Jenny Pearson. That's my old neighbor
Dope.
and current friend still. So I was just it was exciting. A couple of people that I like and think are very funny were involved in the show. So that always felt good. Overall thing I'll say about the year in movies, guys, you're not watching Show Me the Meaning, but let us cook for a second. I think after reflecting on 2024, 2025 in cinemas, to me it just feels and I'm curious what people think about this. I think that I feel like we grade movies too much on a curve. I get why we do it because in a given year, it's not like, okay, let me describe it this way. When I used to teach, right, there's always a thing you have to decide when you're grading student work, which is do you grade on a curve or do you just grade relative to the sort of eternal and universal standards? I've had classes before where I had assignments or essays that came in and no one got an A because I just said, you know what? I don't think anyone really nailed it. I know I was the worst in those times, but no one got it, so no one gets an A. Other times, you kind of read all the essays, you do a quick scan, and you're like, okay, I get a sense of the overall quality. So the highest quality relative to that pile of essays are going to be the A's or whatever it might be. Now, I feel like in Hollywood, we do the latter thing, where no matter how good or bad the movies are, we have to always give something an A. And this is just a year we're looking at it. I just think even the good movies weren't very good. And I worry. There was a really good piece
Yeah.
in N+1 on the year in Hollywood. Let me see if I can find that real quick, and then I can
Conclave to
share with
me would
everyone.
have been just like a standard passing movie in 2007, you know? And
Yeah,
also, while I enjoy Enora and I like ethically where its compass is, I don't think it's as serious a considered thing as it's been lauded as. Or like,
yeah. I just shared in the chat
Enora's
this N+1 thing on the year
awesome.
in movies that I thought was really really good. But go ahead.
But yeah, to its credit, I enjoyed the comedic parts of Enora a bit more than the dramatic parts. If that were to make sense, it felt more in its own lane, doing the right thing when it wasn't trying to be. Some of the self serious parts kind of conflicted with what I felt the best parts of the movie were.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think it was a very like serious year at the movies.
No
The
Other
most
Land
ex-
winning the documentary though.
I was
That was
yeah,
nice.
I want to talk about that. I agree with Maverick on Conclave. Maybe it's just because I'm an aging Catholic, but I really got a kick out of Conclave.
Oh, I
Um,
did too. I'm just saying, like that would have been like. It reminds me of like in 2007. I remember really liking Michael Clayton, but it was not going to win Best Picture in 2007.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And Maverick makes a point that I think is useful, or Dr. Christopher Professor Maverick PhD, the biggest guy on campus, the biggest wrestler boy, said Nora is innovative for the Academy. That's where that win is important. I think it is structurally or symbolically important
Right.
that an independent film, a very independently made film, won an Oscar. Like that is good. That is an objectively good thing. That movies that are not kind of overly self-serious, insider Hollywood productions like Green Book bullshit is winning
Yeah.
stuff. So I think that's good. I think there's larger questions to be asked about Sean Baker and why he's so obsessed with sex workers and why in like every one of his movies a woman gets hit. But that's maybe a thing for him and his therapist and God to work out. I do think I was hoping in terms of the best picture nominees, I was kind of hoping for The Brutalist. For anyone who's listening to Show Me the Meaning, you might know that I have some major problems with that movie. but I still think it was deserving of an award. I was glad that Adrian Brody won. Big shocker, Mikey Madison from Anora snatched Best Actress from the claws of Demi Moore, much like in The Substance, where the younger, newer thing just usurps the throne from the classic model. And I don't want to read too much into it, but it looked like Demi Moore herself was surprised by that. I'll say again, I'd always prefer acting awards be given to the best performers and not people just because they're like older and we like them a lot. I feel like last year when Emma Stone won, I felt the same way. Like Emma Stone, even though she's younger, relatively speaking, she had I think she had the best performance. She deserved it. Henry brought this up. This has come up before, but No Other Land, guys, a documentary on the Israeli occupation of Palestine, a movie that most people have not seen. And the reason most people have not seen that film, because it doesn't have a US distributor. So this is a movie that no American film distribution company will touch. They do not want to be associated with it. And yet, it won. Now, there's a couple reasons that I thought it for sure wouldn't win. One, of course, is the distribution thing. Obviously, Academy members have access to all the films, but not a lot of buzz around a movie when no one can see it. The other thing I was thinking, and I'll try to be delicate as I say this, is that I guess I won't be delicate. There's a lot of Zionism in the film and television industry, and I was kind of worried that in general, a lot of members of the Academy would be categorically opposed to a film that is critical of the state of Israel and the military in Israel. So that was exciting. Someone said audio out of sync. It might be. It might be.
Yeah, so I'm having some slight video drift. It is on our end through Discord because I'm seeing it here on my side too. So
Okay.
it may just be
Okay.
a matter
Hello.
of sign in, sign
Hello.
out. But
I won't. I'm not going to sign in, sign out. I'll do camera off,
that's what I
camera
meant more.
on. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you do look. I'm seeing you in sync now. I did want to bring up in the chat. They mentioned Flow. Flow won for best animated, I believe, and that
Mhm.
is a non-Disney animated movie. I don't know if it was one guy or it was just a small team, but it was made in like Blender, so that's pretty cool. Also, I saw someone
Incredible.
saying online that this was the third year in the row Disney didn't win, which is
Hell
kind
yeah.
of like a first. And yeah, I think that's pretty neat as well.
Yeah, but so I think the Northern Land, and okay, there's a thing that I don't know if the thing I'm about to say is true or not. I will say that there was a lot of conversation about how allegedly um, Gal Gadot was supposed to announce the documentary winner, and then she didn't. And of course, um, when it got announced that Gal Gadot was gonna be the person to announce that award, people were like, "Oh shit!" Well, why were they like, "Oh shit"? Well, because they knew that a movie could win Best Documentary that was about how the Israeli military bulldozes the homes of Palestinians, and Gal Gadot was a member of the Israeli military. It would have been really funny. Would have been funny if Gal Gadot had to do that one, but it seems like they switched it around there. Um, but yeah, I don't know. My main takeaways were No Other Land winning is huge. I think now that it won Best Documentary, like how can it not get a U.S. distributor? You know what I mean? Like at this point, if the Academy itself has
Yeah,
deemed this the best documentary of the year and still no company will take it, well, that's saying the thing. It's telling us the thing. You know what I mean, guys? Like it's making it pretty clear. It's
if
making it pretty clear what the issue with the film is. And again, not to be too conspiratorial, if you watch the clip from when it gets announced and compare it to other clips, a lot of motherfuckers didn't stand up and a lot of motherfuckers didn't clap. And you can see who does and who doesn't. Like it stands out, for example, John Lithgow gets out of his seat to be like, let's go. Lithgow, real one. Guy Pearce. Guy Pearce gets up to dap up the dudes that made that movie. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You know,
if you're lucky
people see this
enough
stuff.
if you're lucky enough to have a boutique theater in your town that does limited run small distribution stuff, see if they're showing No Other Land, because like in Austin, the Austin Film Society was organizing an event. So I think around the country, if you have a indie theater, just check and see what's going on out there.
Yeah. Also, I'm just seeing this on my sidebar. Our friend Kat Abu put out a new video today called "Why Are Some Democrats Trying to Be Republicans?" Oh, I'm going on Kat's stream Thursday, guys. So if you've been watching Kat's show, we'll see if I get bumped. I'll probably get bumped for a higher profile guest. Maybe like Elizabeth Warren wants to come on again, and I'll get bumped. But as of right now, it seems like I'm going to be participating on that show. Logan Reese says that Wisecrack should pick up No Other Land. Dog, we can't even pick up our own podcast and videos starting in a month, and you think we're going to get a movie? Although if there's no other offers, why not? I guess my last thought on the Oscars, which is a fundamental, it's a silly night. It's a silly event. There was a lot of emphasis, again, on seeing movies in theaters. Sean Baker, who I think is a weird guy. I don't trust Sean Baker at a fundamental level. However, I will say that his sort of manifesto call out to see movies in theaters is important, and it's objectively right. And I'm someone who has seen less movies in theaters than I would like to have in the past year. And I will just say, as always, seeing movies in theaters is good. Do it if you can. That's what I would say. Seeing movies in theaters is good. Do it if you can. Let's see. And someone's bringing up I'm Still Here. I haven't seen I'm Still Here, so I can't really comment, but it sounds cool and I want to see it. And here I'll do. Oh, this is actually fun. Maybe it says something like the Wisecrack algorithm that I'm looking in the little sidebar, and it's recommending Kat's video and then my most recent video next to each other. That's fun. I'll share the link to Kat's video a couple times there, and I'll throw mine in as well, so you guys can watch this shit later. I'll share these links again too, but why not? Why not keep watching YouTube after this? Why not never stop watching YouTube? Why not do YouTube forever? Something we wanted to maybe talk about, which I think could be kind of fun, is this an article that came out on 404 Media, a good website, a website that has survived some of the adpocalypse stuff where independent things have been shutting down. 404 is still there. It's an independent website without AI writing for it that covers digital stuff. And Janice Rose published a thing there last week called the Digital Packrat Manifesto. It's an interesting piece, and it, I was thinking about some of this stuff, and I'm sure some of you have seen this and thought about it. Our friend of the show, we're doing a lot of friend of the show talk today. Skylar Higley, Kat Abu, now Jared Henderson. But Jared Henderson put out a video a couple weeks ago that blew up. It was called something like Amazon won't let you download your own books, and the gist of that was Amazon that owns the Kindle and they own the Audible and they own all the stuff to buy the digital books. They won't let you download your own books anymore, which really brings up, the issue of ownership of media. Jackson's in the chat, just standing for TV. I kind of agree with him. Let's see. But, I think about this with streaming too, right? Think about how much of our modern media we don't really own, right? You might, if you use Spotify for 15 years and you have all your playlists and all your music there, but if Mr. Spotify just says no, he's Swedish. I don't know if Swedes go no when they say no, but let's say he goes no and just pulls the plug out and you don't have music anymore. You know what I mean? Let's say you have all your streaming services. Let's say you're even someone who buys digital copies of movies that you have to then go on, Apple TV or Amazon to access. They could just turn them off. Recently, I have gotten more serious about buying records because I realize if the plug gets turned off or whatever, music is very important to me. I want to have music. I want to own music. And of course, I also want to support artists who make music. Not a lot of people do the Blu-ray thing. Are you a Blu-ray guy, Henry?
Yeah, I got a lot of Blu-rays and 4Ks.
That's cool.
Physical
That's
books.
cool.
I've been
cool.
hoarding Spider-Man this past year. That's been kind of my
let's
outlet. Go. But yeah, I'm big on physical media.
Yeah. But sorry. Let's see. I was just looking at something. So there's this Packrat Manifesto. Let's read it. This is from Janice Rose, and I'm curious in the chat too what everyone's attitude is towards this stuff. I don't own, right now, At this point in my life, I do not own any visual media. I do not own a single movie, TV show, or video game. I don't like that. I feel bad about that, and I feel like I want to start hoarding stuff because I also feel like there's going to be a certain point where maybe we all decide that we want to unplug from all the bullshit and just have movie nights at our houses with our friends. But let's read this. It starts by saying Amazon's recent decision to stop allowing people to download copies of their Kindle ebooks to a computer has vindicated some of my longstanding beliefs about digital media. Specifically, that it doesn't exist and you don't own it unless you can copy and access it without being connected to the internet. I think, too, there's maybe some issues of private ownership here. You know, I would be more comfortable with a lack of private ownership if we had collective ownership. For example, like if the public library, and they do, the public library has some streaming options for books and stuff like that. You know, if we knew that like the library would be around and we could have a sort of like collective ownership where our tax dollars are going towards that archive, great. But who knows? Do you think they're going to kill the libraries, guys? They probably will, right?
Yes.
You guys know that they fired the volcano scientist who tell us when a volcano is going to explode, so that no one's here to tell us when a volcano is going to explode anymore. It's a real thing. Goes on to say the recent move by the megacorp and the shiny-headed billionaire CEO Jeff Bezos. They made fun of Bezos at the Oscars. That was pretty funny. Is another large brick in the digital wall that tech companies have been building for years to separate consumers from the things they buy. Starting Wednesday, Kindle users will no longer be able to download purchase books to a computer where they can more easily be freed of DRM restrictions and copied to e-reader devices via USB. You can still send ebooks to other devices via Wi-Fi, but the message the company is sending is one tech company has been telegraphing for years. You don't own anything digital, even if you paid us for it. The Kindle terms of service, yeah, it's all licenses. You are not an owner. You are a licensor. A licensee, I think, would probably be a licensee. Matthew, for one, welcomes our new tech overlord. Bailey does point out that libraries are full of woke and DEI. I went to the library the other day, guys. This is a true story. I went to the library and I asked for a book, and they actually said that they only had DEI. And I was like, what? Do you have... there's just like a book I want. Jonathan Franzen novel. And they were like, oh, we only have DEI. And I was like, do you have books that are DEI? Do you have movies? I'm very confused. And the librarian said, we only do DEI now. And it was really confusing. And then I had to leave because they said that I wasn't DEI. They said no whites allowed, only DEI. We only DEI. It was really confusing. I could see the books on the shelf, and they just kept talking to me like that. Back to this article, it says, the situation brings to mind an interview I did a decade ago, not me, the author of the article, with the executive of a now defunct streaming platform. He told me candidly that the goal of all this was to make digital media a utility like gas or electricity, a faucet that dispenses the world's art as content, with tech companies in complete control of what goes in the tank and what comes out of it. And even just mentally, like, think about what the non-ownership era has done to our collective attitude and like our collective psychology towards art. You know, when I was growing up, because I'm old, you know, I would be really excited to go to the record store and use money that I had earned or stolen to purchase music. And when I would purchase a piece of music, I would listen to that record over and over, and I would read the liner notes, and I felt like I wasn't just someone who bought music or liked music, but those specific artists, you know? Same thing with movies. Like when I was in high school, I just remember watching so many of the same DVDs over and over and diving into special features and having that be something that I lived with for a while. And even the way that those physical objects then become a part of our identities and ways that we understand ourselves, even to get a little deep here, mediate our identities. And when things just become the sort of digital faucet, I mean, think about what we do now with music so often. It's like you go on and you listen to some fucking playlist that some fucking AI made for you that's half slop. You know, or you just listen to 30 seconds of a song and bounce around, and you get on these streaming services and you bounce around, and who really cares? And most of the stuff is crap anyways. I don't know. I just think there's obviously this article will get into it, but there's some implications for this. The author says hearing this was a real tinfoil hat moment for me. For more than 2 decades, I've been what some might call a hoarder, but what I've more affectionately dubbed a digital pack rat, which is to say I mostly avoid streaming services. I don't trust any company or cloud with my digital media, and I store everything as files on devices that I physically control. My MP3 collection has been going strong since the LimeWire days. Let me know in the chat right now if you have used LimeWire. Also, let me know in the chat if you don't know what that is.
Or Kazaa.
Oh my God, wait, Kazaa? Or is it Kazam or Kazaa?
Kazaa.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Napster.
Yeah, guys, I'm seeing people do DEI in chat. Can we not do DEI in chat? No DEI in chat. But do
Speaking
let
of
us know about the
libraries,
streaming.
If you do have a local library, go to your local library. See if they have Canopy access. They are also a great resource for seeing like weird art house movies and hard to find things online.
Yeah. I mean, I also too, money wise these days, I said that we were these days. You know, if you're trying to be not spending money and have access to media, a lot of the free streaming services are pretty good now. Like the Roku channel
If
and
you
fucking Pluto and fucking Tubi. Like there's some real stuff on there. And if you mix that with Canopy and with YouTube, you can get by with a lot of good stuff to watch.
Also, if you have an ad blocker on your browser, it just skips the Tubi ad breaks. Like, I know Tubi on like consoles or other apps might be annoying, but if you're just watching Tubi in a browser with ad block on, it'll just skip the ads. Pro tip.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Okay, please no more DEI in chat. It says, okay, this person avoided streaming services. My MP3 collection has been going strong since the LimeWire days. I keep high quality rips of all my movies on a local media server. What does that mean? I'm not a smart person. Does local media server just mean they have like
You
a
have like
drive at their house?
you have like a hard drive on a server on your local area network, and you just store all your movies and stuff on it. I have so many
Kind
like
of badass.
no, yeah, it's a really good idea. I've been meaning to do it myself because I have like 10 or so hard drives just around me at all times with varying like movie and music archives on them.
Very sick. Let's see. So it says share their websites where you can find some of this material, like the Internet Archive, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's like, I don't know. I think that's cool to have the stuff. Amazon is far from alone in doing this for many people. Digital distribution and streaming services have already practically ended the concept of owning and controlling your own media files. Spotify is almost synonymous with music for some younger generations, having strip mined the music industry from both ends by demonetizing more than 60% of the artists on this platform and pushing algorithmic slop while simultaneously raising subscription fees. You know, there's like AI music now all over Spotify and stuff, so that's cool.
This does bring to mind Sony. There was a game that came out last fall. I can't remember what it was. It was a big studio like planned release Sony was dropping, and it didn't do well financially. And like 2 months later, they straight up removed it from the PlayStation Store. But also, if you had the game installed on your PlayStation, it was removed from your PlayStation.
That's messed up. I don't approve of this message. In case anyone was wondering if I approve of that message, I do not approve of that message. This is last October, 1 year after the Israeli military began its campaign of genocide in Gaza. Netflix removed Palestinian Stories, a collection of 19 films featuring Palestinian filmmakers and characters, saying it declined to renew its distribution license. I wonder why that could have happened. Amazon famously deleted copies of 1984. Many software companies have moved from the days of don't copy that floppy. That sounds like a weird sex thing, to the cloud-based software service model. How do we get here? The article says. In the US, it goes back to the legal concepts of individual versus intellectual property rights, which are mediated by something called exhaustion. I know about that. The idea behind the exhaustion principle, again, shout out in the chat if you also live by the exhaustion principle, was that copyright owners relinquish some of their rights over how a work is used when they sell copies to consumers. Meaning that if you buy a DVD, you can't duplicate it, but the company that produced the movie can't stop you from reselling or gifting the physical disc. Yeah, that's good. We want to have stuff. You know? I got principle exhaustion. We want to have stuff. We want to. Someone said their floppy game went hard in chat. You can talk about your floppy in the chat. Just no more DEI in chat. I think would be good. Someone in the chat said Wisecrack is going to become a digital hermit. I'm trying. Oh, Mav has a home server. Man, this home server thing is cool.
Nice.
I want to do that now. Wow. I'm very envious of you all. Just a reminder, I don't have it. I'm kind of embarrassed. I can see some of it right now, but I don't have it with me. Just a reminder for you guys, as always, we have a coffee partner on our streams, and it's the best coffee. It's called Yes Please Coffee. You guys know about it. You guys definitely know about it. We've talked about it. And there's the link in the description, but you could go to the Yes Please Coffee website, and if you use Wisecrack, you get 20% off. It's the best coffee. Simple as that. And this isn't, and you guys know this, but I'll say it for anyone who doesn't know this. This isn't some bullshit thing where we got some email from some weird agency and they were like, oh, you want to do a deal where we have this coffee company and it's like some coffee company that has like cool fonts, but it's just some like tech douchebag that buys leftover beans from some shitty corporate roaster and puts them in a bag with cool fonts and lets you fill a little quiz on their website. Like, oh, what's your taste profile? But it's not real. None of it's real. They're going to send you the same shit anyways, and it sucks. It's not that. It's a company run by a few people. It's based here in Southern California, and they run a terrible business because they don't make a ton of money because they just make really good coffee and you can get it from them. They make it new every week. They even publish a little zine with it. So I just like it. If you drink coffee, you should drink it. Get a discount too. Discounts are cool. I like discounts. And just a reminder as well, if you are on the good old Wisecrack Patreon, I did post a little video announcement last week updating you all on some changes coming at the channel. I talked about some of this on the stream before, but I got in trouble. I wasn't supposed to. I'm bad. Guys, I'm bad to the bone. It is what it is. I'm bad. I guess I could summarize here for anyone who cares. Most of you probably know this at this point. But the situation at hand is that we are the company. There's a company. There's a big company up here, and under that big company is Wisecrack. We're down here in that corner, and the big company said, "Hey, you know the money that we've been giving you to like make stuff?" And we're like, "Yeah," and they're like, "It is no more. It is DEI. It is gone." Just to be clear, that wasn't some like veiled reference to how the company is punishing us because of DEI. That's not real. I'm just saying DEI because it's fun to say. And because of that, we no longer, starting next month, have a budget to pay freelance people, which is a lot of people, which is most of the people. So starting in April, we're going to publish 3 video essays. And then starting in May, where it's going to be 2 video essays a month. We're currently at 4. So we're going to be having those. Now, they're still going to be like good because the deal is we've decided, and this is the line we drew in the sand, we're not going to put out bullshit. So we're just going to be reducing our production output so that everyone who still works with us can do all of that working a normal week because I'm not going to kill myself for some stupid company. You know what I mean? I hope that's cool with you guys. And I'm going to keep making videos on my own. So if I'm a part of what you like at Wisecrack, you'll still get the same amount of me on the internet probably. Streaming wise, I've talked about this before. There's still going to be streams. I'm just going to run some stuff on my own channel. Cause to be honest, I'll frame it this way. If I'm going to do a stream, and let's say I'm gonna have Henry be a part of it still. And let's say because Henry's me a part of it, I would like to pay him for that. I don't want to pay Henry out of my pocket to make content for a corporation for whom we don't receive the profits of that. You know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna pay my man Henry some money out of my pocket, I would rather have it be on my own shit. So then if we make some money on the stream, I can have that money and Henry could have some of that money. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense economically, everyone?
Yeah, I think so.
Right? So, they're just saying, what up? You're highlighting. We love it. So, that's that situation there. So I'll say it again, there's a link in the description so you can keep up with some future streams. We'll put a little thing there. there's still stuff happening. I'll post the link again. This takes you to my channel. We're gonna do some streams from in the future, but that's the situation. And what are the possible outcomes of this? Well, I will say that there are active conversations about maybe a person, an entity, a corporation, a foreign government, maybe the Saudis, purchasing Wisecrack from the parent company, and it could like relive it could live on for eternity. But yeah, that's the situation. Happy to answer any questions. Wisecracklive666@gmail.com. No corporation owns that, bitch. So sorry, guys. Let's get back to the digital Packrat thing here. Let's see. And I do like the analogy that gets made about students and textbooks and textbooks. I want to scroll down to where it says the basic principle of exhaustion, the notion that owners have rights that are not contingent on copyright holder permission, can and should survive the transition to a digital copyright economy, explains Aaron Perzanowski and Jason Schultz in their book, The End of Ownership, Personal Property in the Digital Economy. Rights holders have always fought against this principle, but the digital marketplace gives them their best chance to kill it. Following the mass corporate freakout over piracy in the post-Napster era, the copyright holders finally found two ways to get past the exhaustion principle: digital rights management, DRM, which locks downloaded content to a centrally controlled platform, and streaming services. And, I think the article says here the streaming model is particularly appealing to most normal people, because who wants to pay for and manage thousands of media files? And not to be devil's advocate-y, there's elements of streaming that are cool. I don't know what you're all, how you guys lost your streaming virginity. I lost my streaming virginity, I think 2007 or 8. So I was living in Europe. Yeah, I'm very international. In 2007 or 8, when Spotify didn't exist in America and existed in Europe, and someone was like, "Oi, mate, check out Spotify, put on your computer, there's music." And I, did that. And, kind of blew me away at the time. And I remember, because of how the internet works, then I came to America and Spotify still worked on my computer, even though they didn't have it in America. But early on, it was like, holy shit, this is so cool. And I feel like streaming is at its best as a discovery device, as a device for the discovery of new music and new art. And sometimes it is hard to discover new things. And I do think discovery mechanisms are important. Obviously, reading good, arts, journalism, and criticism can be a method for that. But, so I think that, and early on, I just don't think a lot of us from a consumer perspective maybe thought about what we were doing when we said yes to streaming. I don't think many of us thought like, oh, by tacitly, agreeing with this new form of technology, we're initiating a process by which we won't own the art we consume, and the artists that make the art we consume will get less of the money for their art. I don't think many of us thought that. If you did think that and you kept up with it, you're bad. It says, piracy never went away, of course, but services like Netflix simply outpaced it in terms of convenience. I think that's true too. Like, piracy, if you're not good at piracy, it's a lot of effort. And at a certain point, when Netflix first started, it was like, is piracy easier for me than spending $10.99 a month? Probably not. That's how piracy stops. Dustin Driver said, "Can art be truly owned?" Can art truly be owned? I think it's an interesting question. Like, I think when we talk about ownership, I don't think, how do I phrase this? You can't own another's art, right? Like, you can't own Bob Dylan's songs because they're Bob Dylan songs. He wrote them. I think the idea is, in owning a Bob Dylan record, it gives you the ability to listen to that music and to enjoy that art on your own terms without having to mediate that constantly via a third party. And at least when you buy the Bob Dylan album, you're buying you're not renting a little bit of Bob Dylan via a third party anytime you want to listen to Boots of Spanish Leather, So yeah, someone said accessibility to art is what can be owned. Mez Love said in the chat, I was excited to have less clutter, but I never considered the ramifications. With you there. With you there. Oh shit. I'm gonna respond to this comment. This is heavy. Manol said, my mom died 1 month ago. I'm very sorry for that. I feel like my regular self as before death is normal. It's really, I don't know how old you are, what situation you're in, Manoli. You know, my dad died when I was in my mid 20s, and it's weird when a parent dies because you feel, here's what I'm gonna say. When a parent or a loved one dies, I don't think you ever feel the way that you think you should feel, if that makes sense. Because in your head, whether it's because of what you've seen in film and television, how you've seen other people react, you think to yourself, this is how someone should feel when someone they love dies. But you have no idea how you're going to feel when that happens. Man, okay, 23, man, I was 20, I just turned 25 when my dad died. So similar thing. I think it took me about 3 to 5 years to like feel all of the stuff that I felt. And now my dad's been dead 15 years. And I still think about it. You know, my partner lost her dad when she was like a kid, and she's old now, old lady. She is an old lady. I married an elderly woman, but she still thinks about it. So, you know, that's all I could say. If anyone else has thoughts on that and you want to be hella vulnerable in a goddamn YouTube chat, you can. But it takes a while, and I would simply say don't just like feel the feelings and don't judge yourself for the feelings you feel or how you feel them, if that makes sense. And whatever you're feeling at the time is okay. And if you feel normal for a bit, maybe that's okay. Maybe you're allowed to feel normal. You know? Last thing I'll say on this is a tangent, but I'm comfortable with this. You know, don't guilt yourself for not feeling any particular type of way, because the person who you lost, who loved you very much, would not want you to feel shitty on their account. Like, if I died, I wouldn't want my friends to feel like ass because I was dead. I'd want them to think about me sometimes. Would I want them to occasionally have like psychosexual dreams about me that made them question what their feelings towards me really were when I was alive? Yes. But, you know, I'd want them to have a good life. So I don't know. I know it's kind of a tangent there, but thank you for bringing that up. And really do hope you're doing okay. It's tough. It's tough. And it never goes away, so no reason to. But someone says AI Michael is glitching. Oh no! I made this AI version of me so I could go do other stuff.
Yeah, you keep slipping in and out of time. Like
what?
Some sort of magician.
This is where I have to tell you guys that I'm a cosmic time shark. Let's see. I want to scroll down. Okay. This is a couple paragraphs from where we were, Henry, to the line that says, one of the more abstract but dire consequences of the streaming mentality is that we started to treat art and culture like wallpaper. That is tough. You know, and it is tough the way that art and culture becomes a thing that sits in the background while we do dumb shit. The rise of algorithmic curation and AI-generated content has sent this into overdrive. On Spotify, music is detached from its human creators and flattened into algorithmically generated playlists with hashtag labels like lo-fi, chill wave, anime vibes. But this is true. People click a playlist, and it's almost like music has become what Muzak was in like restaurants and hotel lobbies. You know, this one anomalous thing. Go ahead, Henry.
Yeah, before hopping on here, I saw some post on Twitter about like AI generated classical music, and it was 4 minutes of just the most repetitive, pause heavy, just out of like, I don't know music theory, you know, to a T. I don't play any instruments, but I could tell that it was like varying styles without context or consideration from different eras, and just the way it constantly didn't compound into something meaningful was very telling. It was just hearing the confusion of AI played through a classical scream.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that, you know, it says Netflix has even started dictating, and we talked about this on stream, that producers make TV shows less engaging. And if you guys don't remember, there's an N+1 article about this. What was revealed in the article is that Netflix insists that their writers and filmmakers make movies that are meant to be watched in the background, meaning that it becomes important that characters tell you what they're doing so that you don't watch it. So if you've watched like recent streaming movies and you notice that like characters are like, hey, we were just at the store and now we're back here at the bank because we're here to do the job we talked about. That's why. Because they're just creating signposts. It's sort of like on stream, how I might stop and be like, hey guys, it's Wisecrack's Case of the Mondays. I'm Michael Burns, producer Henry. It's Monday, March 3rd. We talked about the Oscars earlier. And now we're talking about a 404 article on being digital Packrats. Like, it's one thing to do that in this context. It's another thing when like you're watching the movie and someone turns to the screen and says, I'm Indiana Jones and I'm trying to get to the Temple of Doom. You know, it just doesn't. That didn't happen in that movie, but you know what I mean? If it's like, I'm Luke Skywalker and I'm here to do the Star Wars.
Adult Dora the Explorer.
Yeah. But, you know, in the same way, like, you know, musicians and a lot of younger songwriters, it's not like, let's write a really good music. It's like, what song has a 30 seconds that would play really well on TikTok or shit like that? You know? Things just get flattened. And they become less about the thing existing on its own and more about, you know, digital wallpaper or content or things that can be used for something else. In a recent book, Mood Machine, The Rise of Spotify and the Cost of Perfect Playlists, music journalist Liz Pelly refers to this process as musacking, the conversion of media from discrete works of art with a discernible context, and author to anonymous background noise meant for passive consumption at the gym or while relaxing at home. And I don't think this means that music can't be relaxing, right? Like the experience of listening to music. I had an argument with friends about this over the weekend, actually. But, you know, not all music should be difficult or challenging or mean that you have to like really focus to get what's going on. Like you should have stuff you can listen to in the background. Like it's nice to have music on when you hang with friends or eat dinner or goon in a bathtub, whatever you like doing. But, you know, I think that doesn't mean... It's like music should be consumed passively. That's okay. But to say that music or art in general's primary function is passive consumption is dangerous because then we reverse engineer the thing for passive consumption.
Yeah, is art just wallpaper to the imagination of many? I do wonder how much of this is a compounding or a growth out of just like past generations of like, you know, born in the USA, just the irony going over, or like, I don't know. My dad was really big on these people don't listen to the lyrics. That was like a huge thing he'd always complain about when it came to like popular use of music. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what kind of effect or relationship that kind of past attitude has towards this present one.
Yeah. Let's see. Someone in the chat brought up Johnny Knoxville. I'll just say that you can't second screen Jackass. That show demanded full attention. I feel like they might be making another Jackass movie, by the way, guys. So I'm excited about that. That's the thing that excites me. All-time underperforming Wisecrack videos. The 2 times I insisted that they let me make videos about Jackass. Sometimes you got to just insist. You know, sometimes you insist. And maybe in 5 years, there'll be a Jackass Renaissance and those videos will blow up. And I'll get to look back and be like, see, it was worth it. Says it turns out that playlists have spawned a new type of music listener. One who thinks less about the artist or album they're seeking out, instead connects with emotions, moods, and activities, where they just pick a playlist and let it roll. Pelly wrote that in an essay for The Baffler. These algorithmically designed playlists, in other words, have seized on an audience of distracted, perhaps overworked or anxious listeners whose stress-filled clicks now generate a anesthetized, algorithmically designed playlist. Ooh. But it's true. I would say, though, for times that you do want a playlist, a thing to do is avoid, you know, lo-fi ska rock to jerk to and try to find stuff. Like, wait, for example, I really like the music of the hip-hop producer Jay Dilla. A lot of Jay Dilla's sounds are kind of like lo-fi beats, to use really reductive terminology. But on YouTube, there's one playlist where DJ Ninth Wonder, some of you might have heard of, a North Carolina-based DJ and producer, does like a live mix of a bunch of Dilla songs. And it is because he's a DJ, he occasionally like jumps in to talk about the record. That's really interesting because I can listen to that playlist, Some of it is hearing songs I've heard before and just enjoying them. And then occasionally a beat comes up and I'm like, oh shit, what is that? And I can stop and look at it. And it's a way to like engage. Or, there is an account I like that's on like Instagram and Spotify called Film, Philm. And the dude curates playlist on Spotify. But when I listen to his playlist, it's sort of like I listen to them, but then I'll stop and be like, ooh, what is that? And now I'm gonna click on that thing. Now I want to learn about that artist. Maybe I'm gonna follow that artist on social media. Ooh, maybe now the next time that artist is in my town, I'm gonna go see them. So I think you can seek out, with music in particular, ways to have playlists that do some of the work for you. Because again, it's good to have people that curate art for us. No one's critiquing that. Like, it's good that when you go to an art museum, there is a curator who's like, hey, I know about this shit. Here's all the art you need to see. In the same way that an art house cinema has someone that works there that's like, hey, you haven't heard about this movie, but I swear to God, it rips. And the same way that some people put together a music playlist, like, oh, that person knows music. What we don't want is algorithmically constructed versions of that aren't about engaging us as experiencers of art, but just become the background slop. And I think that's what it's getting at. So it says digital pack ratting is the antithesis. Did anyone else have a speech thing growing up? I had to do speech class for 2 years, I think. Let me know in the chat if you had to go to speech class when you were a kid. That's an embarrassing one. And they would take me out of the one class and they would be like, what do you gotta do? And it'd be like, speech class. You wanted to lie, right? And say, I'm going to gun class. What's that? That's where I shoot guns. That's good. You shouldn't talk about guns in school. That's not good. I should have said bows and arrows. I should have said ninja star throwing or whatever a second grader would think of. But hey, if any of you watching this had to do speech class, shout out to you. Digital pack ratting is the antithesis of this trend. It requires intentional curation. See, intentionality. That's what I was getting at. Because you're limited by the amount of free space on your media server and devices, and the amount of space in your home you're willing to devote to this crazy endeavor, every collection becomes deeply personal, and that's beautiful. I feel like when I was in college, every college had this like guy, who would download everything, and his thing wasn't that he even liked music or movies, but it was just the guy that downloaded stuff all day, and his whole thing was just downloading stuff all day. It says, while streaming platforms flatten music listening to a homogenous assortment of vibes, listening to an album you downloaded on Bandcamp or receiving a mix from a friend feels more like forging a connection with artists and people. Hey, make a mix and send it to a friend. Homework for this week, guys.
Yeah.
Or make a mix and send it to us. If you have a mix, make it on Spotify or YouTube or however you make mixes, send it to wisecracklive666@gmail.com. Let me check. I'll open up our email now and just see, because sometimes stuff comes in.
Just physical terabytes of data.
Yeah. But let's see. And just a reminder, this stream is brought to you by Project 2025. If you care about the future,
Wait,
Project
Sig,
2025. I forgot to tell you. I'm trying to save the channel, so I'm taking sponsors from anyone. So, Project 2025, the only project that will say no DEI in libraries. Let's see. It says, I don't expect everyone to read this and immediately go back to hoarding MP3s, nor do I think many people will abandon things like Spotify and Amazon Kindle completely, which is important because I think with something like this, there's a level at which like we're not going back at a certain point. You know what I mean? Like we're not going to all of a sudden go backwards all the way. We're going to have some of this stuff. This stuff exists as part of our lives. This person says it's not like I'm some model citizen either. I share a YouTube premium account because the ads make me want to DEI. Oh, die. I can't even get it. I can't even see it now. And I'll admit having a weakness for the Criterion channel, but the Packrat lifestyle has shown me that other ways are possible. Skipping ahead, living with some degree of artificial scarcity also changes the way you value those things. It makes you question how much media is enough. If more people reflected on their desire for unlimited everything, maybe we'd find a way to break through the walled gardens that have been built to satisfy them. Great last line. It's written by Janice Rose, a New York City-based journalist, educator, and artist whose work explored the impact of AI technology on activists and marginalized communities. Previously an editor of Vice, she has been published in digital print outlets including eFlux, Journal, Days Magazine, New Yorker, and Al Jazeera. Ooh, Al Jazeera, is that DEI? I think Al Jazeera might be DEI. I'm going to look into it. I'll post the link to this article in the chat, because maybe you don't trust us. Maybe you don't think that was a real article. Maybe you think we made that up. In the chat, someone said, Michael, what books do you like to read? Any genre fiction, philosophy, fiction, nonfiction, self-help? Man, I sometimes read self-helpy things, but like stuff that's more like there's a book called The Courage. I think it might be called The Courage to Be Disliked or The Courage of Being Disliked or something. It's a Japanese book. And I heard about it because Tilda Swinton mentioned it on a podcast. And I was like, fuck it. If Tilda Swinton liked that book, who am I to not like it? But right now what I'm reading The Corrections, the Jonathan Franzen novel. I'm reading, I mentioned it before, American Utopia, Frederick Jameson book. What else am I reading? For a work thing, I'm reading some Jordan Peterson right now. Don't kill me, everyone. I have some new stuff I'm going to start reading. I got sent some new books by our friends at Verso. Reminded that we have a Verso reading list. You can get 20% off. No, you get like 40% off. Oh, and there's a book that I started reading, and Verso sent this to me. I'm looking on the shelf right now. It's called The Destruction of Palestine is the Destruction of the Earth by Andreas Malm. You can get that discounted over on Verso. But I don't know. But I mostly read like fiction or philosophy and theory type stuff or things like that. You were saying boo earns. Okay, before we get going, a couple of things. I'm sure again, I'm being self-promotional. I don't even care. I put out a new video on postmodernism and the right wing today. I kind of made it because some of you people said they might want to see it. So There it is. Check it out if you want. We'll stream on Wednesday, so we'll be here again. Are you guys doing Show Me the Meaning this week?
Yeah, we're doing Conclave tomorrow.
Yeah. Am I supposed to do it?
Do you want to do it? We want you to do it.
Let me see. This is it's a tough week schedule wise for me because
otherwise it might just be me and Austin doing it. But either way,
I think I can do it. I think I have childcare. No, you need a Catholic on the line for that. You need a deeply devoted Catholic for that one. I'm gonna try to do it. Even if I just do like half or something. Jelly Spready, day 4, no nicotine, and man on board. Hey, I'm proud of you for doing that.
Good work.
I feel like the Alan Carr book, like the not smoking method, people like that one. But shouts to you. Being healthy is good. Live forever. Live forever. Live forever. And yeah, we have a video coming out on oligarchy on Friday. Ever heard of it? Ever heard of it?
Never.
Yeah. What's up, John Kim?
Bernie Sanders uses 2 big words.
Oh, Bernie Sanders. I hate him. He's DEI. So yeah, homework this week, make a playlist and send it to a friend. And if you want to send it to us, wisecracklive666@gmail.com, and go to your library and root out the DEI. Thanks as always to producer Henry for being very good at doing the stuff that he does. I do annotate my books, or I just write on my books. I write little things next to stuff I want to go back to. And let's go see No Other Land if you can. We'll see you Wednesday. Have a great week. This has been Wisecrack's Case of the Mondays for Monday, March 3rd, 2025.